All right, so now we're gonna work at our strings and how do we handle those strings, and we'll also look at some of the operations that we can perform on our strings. Okay, so let me first introduce you with strings in Python. Okay, so strings, as in any other language, strings in any other language is like this. So anything written between those quotation marks is called as a string. Okay, so I'm gonna say anything written between quotation marks is called as string. And by anything, I do mean anything. You can say, you can write any alphabet, any alphanumeric keys, or like any special characters. So any of the keys that you can type with. Okay, so if you just enclose them within a string, that can be within a quotation mark, that can be a string. Okay, so let's first take an example of a string. So as we took some examples of the string in our first session, let's take one as email. So if I say email and then say equals to, and then I can say like John William 1, okay, and then at anything.com. Okay, just for taking an example. Okay, so you see in this example I have taken like everything. I have used some alphabets, some small letters, some capital letters, some special keys as well, right? So, and also use like a numeric characters called as one, right? So anything that can be put inside those quotation marks becomes a string. All right, very nice. Let's take another example, which will be a simpler one. How about we take name? Simple. I'm going to say name, and then equals to, and then let's just use Mr. John Williams again. Say, I'm going to say John, and then space, and then William. There we go. So we said John and then William. Now, let me tell you how string is actually stored into Python. Okay, so all of these characters that you put within a quotation marks, you make it a string. All of these have some indexes. Okay, so all of these are kind of put in an array. Okay, so all of these have a very sequential access manner. Okay, so the first character, like this J here, the first character have an index called as 0. Okay, so let's put all these indexes below them. So I'm going to say 0 for J, and then for H we have like 1, and for O we have like 2, and then 3, and up to so on. And there's one more thing, the spaces also have some indexes with them. So like a space here in this John William will have an index called as 4. Okay, and then W have the index of 5, up to so on. Okay, so all of these characters in a particular string have indexes, right? So these indexes actually help us to access all these characters. Okay, so I'm just going to comment this line out as well. All right, so for example, if I just want to access the first element into my string of name, I can access it through this, so through this method. Okay, you need to remember it, because if you know like how to access a string, you do have an idea how to access a list, a tuple, or a dictionary. So there are many other things that you can understand by only knowing how you can access a particular element in your string. All right, let's go ahead and first try to access our J in our name string. So first, for that purpose, I'm going to say print, and then I'm going to give the name of my variable, which in this case is fortunately name. Okay, and then we're going to take some brackets, and these brackets are going to be like square brackets. Okay, so we gave the name of our variable, and then we gave square brackets, and then within those square brackets I'm going to give the index of the character that I want to access. So I can just say 0 here, simple as that. Okay, so I said print and then name and then a 0 between them. Let's try to run this program now and let's see what happens. There we go, it gives a J. right? So in the similar way, you can access like any element you want. You can also access n of the John. Let's try to remove this one. And as we know, this John here, like this n here, will have the syntax of 3, right? Because the indexes start from 0. So this one, J will have a 0, and then H, 1, O will have 2, and then N will have 3, right? So don't get confused with it. Like you can also be saying this one is the 4th character, so it may have the index of 4. No, the indexes start from 0, okay? So index of N is going to be 3. Let's try to give 3 here. Let's start to run this program again. There we go. We only get N. Nice. And this is how you can access a very one particular index or one character. What if I want to access or I want to print this complete first name called as John on the terminal? Okay, so for that purpose, I need to know like where from which index this John starts from and at which index it ends, right? So it starts from with 0 and it ends at 3. Okay, so for that purpose, I'm going to say this. Inside here, I'm going to say 0. And then I can say 3. Simple. Okay, so this means that I'm giving a range. Start from 0 and go up till 3. Let me first run the program and then I'll tell you what else we need to add in here. Let's try to run this program and see what the result is. There you go. It just prints J, H, and O. It doesn't print N. Why? Because the value that you give at the end, the second value is not included. This one is exclusive. Okay, this one is excluded. So it will start printing off from 0 and it will go up till 3, not including 3. Okay, so that's why we didn't get an N here. If we also want to get an N here, we can just change this 3 to a 4. Just like that. Okay, so I have changed this 3 with the 4. Let's start to run this program again. There you go. We now get an N as well. Very nice. And in some cases, so for example, if I want to start from W and I want to go up to the very end, okay, so I'm gonna write print again, and then I'm gonna write name, and then I'm gonna give a bracket here. Okay, so I by chance or by calculation we can say I know what is the index of W, right? So the index of W would be like 5. Like this one is 0 and then 1 and 2 and then 3, 4 and 5. Yeah, the index of W would be 5, right? But I don't know what would be the index of M, right? Because I have to calculate it to the very end, right? So for example, this name was a bit longer. It may be like John William Churchill. Okay, so in that case, I don't have this much time to go up till the end calculating all the indexes, like where this whole string ends. So in that case, if you just want to go up till the end, you can just say this, a colon, and then just leave the ending point, right? If you just leave the ending point, it would start off from the point that you gave and it will go up till the very end of the string. Okay,
Okay.
let's try to run this program. Yeah, there you go. It says William and Churchill. In the same way, you can just give this. We can say print, and then again name, and then a bracket again. And by some chance, if you do know that what is the ending point, so for example, I gave the ending point as 4, and if by chance I don't know where should I start from, you can just skip the starting point, just like that. So it will take 0 by default, right? So it will start off with J by default automatically. Let's start to run this program again. There we go. We got John here. Okay, so this John came from this first print command. This William Churchill came from second line, and this John came from the third line.
Right.
Okay, so this one was a simple syntax of how can we access a string using positive indexing. I'm going to repeat it. This is the method of how we can access any index or access any character using positive indexing. Now let me also tell you about the negative indexing. So this negative indexing is kind of opposite to what we have just learned. So let me take another example again. I'm going to say name again, name 1. How about that? So name 1 equals to, And then I'm going to say, let's take another example. How about we say Kate Williams now? We're just talking about two brothers, okay? So let's say Kate Williams. Now, this Kate Williams, if I just want to access it using the negative indexing, so negative indexing works like this. Negative indexing starts from the very end. So this S will have the index of -1, okay? And this M will have the index of -2, like that. And this A will then have the index of -3, and up to so on, right? So the whole thing keeps on going. So A have the index of -3, M has the index of -2, and S have the index of -1. So they just keep on be interwoven in a whole cycle, kind of a cycle, okay? So for example, now for example, if I just want to print like the ending points, like the last A, M, and S. So for that purpose, let's say I'm gonna say again print, and if I say name1 now, and then those brackets again, and then so I want to start from A and I want to go up to 3. I want to go up to S. So be very careful about what you say here. So you can't just say start from -1 and go to -3, all right? Because this can't be done. We can't go backwards. So you need to give a starting point like this, -3, and you need to go up till this -1. All right, let's start to run, right? So I'm going to say -3. And then colon, and then -1. Just like that. Start to run this program, and then I'll tell you what actually needed to be done else. You see, we only get AM. We didn't get the S as well. And this is because, as I told you before, this is because we can't, the last point here is not included. This one is exclusive, okay? So now, by some chance, if I just ask you that I want to print S as well, okay? So some of you might be thinking that why don't I just go ahead and replace this -1 with 0 then, right? It may help us to print S, but remember, the 0 is the index of K. It's not the index of S, right? The index of S is -1 only. Let me try to run this program and then tell you what actually happened. There you go. We get nothing because we can't start from -3 and we can't go to 0, right? Because this will be like an opposite way. We can't just say A, M, and S, and then K, right? So this can't happen. So if you want to print S as well, just simply leave the last part. Let's start run this program again. There you go. We get the AMS now, right? And if I just want to start off with Kate and want to go till William, and I want to do that using both positive and the negative indexing, I can say this. I can say start from 1. Now this will not include K, I'm sure. And then let's end at -1. Okay, start run this program now.
Great.
There you go. So we somehow get something between like this 8, and it will print up till M, right? Okay, so this is how you make strings, and this is how you access them. Now, we are done with how to make strings and how to access them. Now, let's talk about some operations that can be done on our strings, okay? So let's now talk about some operation or methods that can be applied on our string. Now, this is going to be very interesting. So as I just said, name, right? So how about I do this, name, and then dot, right? So in order to access the methods of a string, you just need to write name, and then you just need to give a dot. As soon as you give a dot, there will be a whole new list of methods that are already available for you to use, okay? So it's a whole list of it. You can just go ahead
These are built-in methods, right?
Yeah, these are all the built-in methods that are already available within Python, okay? So I'm gonna be using some of these to just help you know how they are used. So how about we just say name.upper, and we may also need to print that because this name.upper method doesn't actually return something. I'm gonna say name.upper, print name.upper, and in this way, this whole string should be changed to an uppercase letter. Let's try to run this one. There you go. We got John William Churchill all in uppercase, right? Let's do the same thing with dot lower. We also have another method called as dot lower. Let's try to run this one. There you go. We got all of these are lower characters now. Nice. Let's make another method now. So I'm going to say name, then dot, and then we have a title. So this title will capitalize the first letter of each word. Let's start to run this one. There you go. So John of John, J of this John was capitalized, W of William, and then C of Churchill will capitalize. Okay, this is how name dot title works. Nice. Let's go ahead and explore some others method as well. I'm going to say name and then dot. Okay. Now let's try the index part. If you say index, now this function helps me to check like what is the index of any particular character. So for example, if I don't know what is this index of C and I don't want to calculate it, okay, so I'm just going to say name.index, and in here I can say quotation marks and then C. Remember, you always need to put quotation marks whenever you want to give a character within the brackets. Okay, let's try to run this program. Okay, there we go. It says this C was first encountered on index number 30, right? This is how the name.index method works. Let's try another one. So print name dot. Let's try to use the find now. Now this find also helps us to find the index of any particular character. This time we try W. How about that? So capital W this time. Let's try to run this one and see if it actually present or not. There you go. It says 5. If I try to remove this capital W with small w, right? And let me show you again so that you are sure. You see, in this name, we have a capital W. What I gave here is a small w. Let's try to run this one and see what the result is. There you go. Actually, I think we do have a w at -1 index. All right, we can do with that as well. Okay, so let's try to look at another method. So we have a name dot, and now let's look at replace. So in here, replace, as you can see, it gives you suggestion on the top of replace. It says old comma new, right? So we can give an old value that I want to replace. So how about we replace this J with a T, okay? So instead of John, it will like Ton, okay? So let's replace this capital J and then a comma, and then I'm replacing it with a capital T. Yeah, so I may not need to give a print statement. We'll see. Set run this one. Yeah, there you go. So instead of J, it's now become Thorn William Churchill. Okay, so this is how you use all the methods available for strings. You can go ahead and explore all the other ones in your own time. All right, so I think this will be all for our strings and for some operations on the string. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Okay, I have a question, that is, why do we need to access the indexes and elements while we are programming?
Okay, so in programming, you in some different circumstances, you always need to access any particular element or any particular character present within a list or within a string, right? So you may need to check if the user's name does matches with your database. All right. So for example, in applications like in Facebook, all right. So in Facebook, you give your email address, right? And what happens in the background is they have saved your email address with a particular against a particular name in the database, right? So they compare both things. Okay, so this is how this is the use of these strings. They need to compare your name with another name in the database to check if it's actually you, right? So we always need to check inside, like what is present inside my string.
All right.
Okay, so I can do one more thing here. So this one is called as this one is called as a test to check if one particular character is present within our string or not. Okay, so as I said, let's take another example. Let's say course, and I'm going to say course equals to Python for beginners. Okay, let's press enter. And now just to check if this course contains Python in it or not, so I can say this. I can say print, and then I can say Python in course. Okay, so now I say print Python in course. Now this in operator, I have used this in operator. Now this in operator is used to check if one particular thing is present into another one, right? So this whole line will check if this Python was present in course or not. If it's present, it will just return a true, and if it's not, it will return a false. Okay, let's try to run this one. There you go. It returns a true because this Python was present in this list. How about I change this little p with a capital P, like this one. And then let's try to run this program again. There you go. It now gives a false because with a slight change, with the slightest change, the whole thing changes, right? Because now this capital P with Python isn't present into my course. All right? And then let me tell you one last thing about strings and about how do we calculate the length of a string. Okay, so just to calculate the length of a string, we have in the function called as the len function. Okay, so len, and then let's pass on our course function, the variable that we want to calculate the length of. Okay, and we can also give print and then len and then course. There you go. So this will just return the length of my course string. Okay, let's try to run this program again. There you go. It gives me 20, right? It says that your whole string contains 20 letters. Yep. So I think now we are done with the whole string things. So again, if you have any questions, you can ask in here or in the comment section.
Thank you so much.